Hello? Let's talk about some process management kind of things. Process and the product. I found this article by Jeff Morris, Jr., Director of Product Management, and I thought it was fairly interesting. Could be something worth walking through. He's comparing the process to the product. We work in the industry that glorifies the process of everything we build. I don't know about it glorifying it, but it does hold it in some regard. Usually holds it in some regard. We're obsessed with roadmaps, methods, acronyms, productivity tools. We share this shared language gives a sense of belonging and makes us feel like we are in fact product people. There are some certain tangible and helpful things about having a common lexicon and a common understanding how the parts or the product is to be produced. It gives us a model from which we can all agree on and how or improve the process in general. Process is important in life, and we should seek to build high quality products with focus and efficiency. And the process is supposed to help you do that. Process helps you prioritize what's most important, helps you streamline how those things that are prioritized most important move through your product development organization. And you would never argue against that. Product manager and product designers glorify our process for building products, Twitter, podcasts, and at conferences, but we should remember something important. Customers don't actually care about how we build our products or how we design our products or the processes that it takes to build them, to create the product. Customers don't care about Slack debates, Jira tickets, or fault reports, and the compromises we make along the way. Those things are all part of the process. Customers only care about how our products feel in their hands and nothing else. This is true up to a point. As long as we've delivered a capable product, the customer doesn't care. But I think this changes. In fact, I know for a fact that it does. If the product starts to try to kill them, for example, if it tries to run them over, if it's a car, or only works sometimes, only works as advertised sometimes, does errant things. These things, I'm pretty sure a customer is going to want their money back, or perhaps litigation when this doesn't happen, or when these things happen. Product managers spend our days writing specs, filing Jira tickets, and editing roadmaps. Process. Well, that may be true, and it's probably... Is he advocating no specs, for example, or not filling out fault tracking, fault tickets, fault reports, not testing? If you don't test, you don't have to reissue fault reports. These things are processes, and they're there in place for a reason. And the reason is, if the reason isn't evident, then that part of the process maybe should go away. If there's a reason for that part of the process, then you should be maybe doing that, or something that will achieve the same objective as that particular item in your process. For example, I might have a documented process that says this is what I would normally do. Okay, for this particular project, this objective that this process is to achieve doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about that for this product. Let's say it's a laptop application and the process is for a piece of hardware. Okay, so we can dump that piece of hardware, those hardware things. But that doesn't mean all things like that. All process steps like that can just be obliterated. For example, you can have a process step that can't be met because of some prerequisite is not met or some other binding or restrictive element. Then you have to find another way to achieve that objective that process step was supposed to achieve. The process is not there just because it's a random hodgepodge of events. Usually the process provides a baseline for how we're going to do the work. A baseline with some understanding to it so that we can take key measurements and make some definitive statements or quantifiable statements about the resulting product that's being produced by the process, which is ultimately important. For example, if my test process is repeatable, as in these are the steps I'm going to take, then I can make some statement about this particular product with regard to those steps. If I have a lot of fault reports, maybe some very serious ones, and I'm tracking those, I can watch how how the defect arrival rate is reduced over time by iteration. The process provides these kind of mechanisms. Otherwise, you would maybe make the assumption that the product is okay and launch it while you still had considerable number of defects. What else could we have created instead of the perfect Gantt chart? Well, first of all, the Gantt chart or PERT chart, doesn't really matter how you're going to do it. They're almost invariably not perfect, and even if you manage to hit it on the head within a few days of the time you set it down, it can be pretty much changed or altered. That doesn't mean you don't go through the exercise, because you learn a lot about what's going to happen, what could happen, and where the risks are by going through that exercise and understanding the dependencies, which a Gantt chart would help you to ascertain. What's that quote? Eisenhower, I think. Planning is nothing. The plan is nothing. Planning is everything. With planning, you understand how the parts go together, and with the process, you will understand how the parts to go together. And when you find out the process is marginally incapable, you're able to make some statements as why it might be, and then how to alter it so that you have a continuing improvement mechanism within your organization. Otherwise, you're adapting a variable, as in no process means everything is variable, and you don't understand why things are the way they are, or how they are, or what makes them that way. There are easy wins in our production apps that we could have discovered instead of seeking the perfect process. Perfect process, doesn't happen. You asymptotically approach perfection, just like self-improvement. You understand the process, you deliver with the process, you see the gap between what you would like to have the process yield and what is actually being yielded, and you figure out how to make that better. How to make that better can mean it needs to be faster. It needs to be more reliable. The process needs to be more repeatable. The outcome of the process needs to be of a higher quality. All these things, since you have a baseline of a process, you can make informed judgments or decisions on how to go about any adjustment to the process. Ad hoc, that's much more difficult, and you can't move that forward. Can we think less about our perfect product manager workflows and think more about simplifying our products? I don't think it's a matter of less. I think you probably need to think equally about the product process, the workflow, and think about simplifying the products also. Simplifying the workflow could be interesting too, as in get it to market faster and cheaper. Our job is to delight the customers through the projects we build. Our job is to delight customers through the projects that we build. Process is important, but do not forget that the customer is judging us on one thing, the product. Right. The only time the process really matters to the customer is when things implode. If your process is incapable, you delivered something to a customer and it has caused some damage or harm, or big recall, or doesn't do what I want it to do, which you say that it will do, then there's going to be a problem. He still doesn't care. He or she probably still doesn't care about the process, but you will. You will, because you will not be getting customers. They will say, you know what, your company can't do what they say they can do, and this product is a piece of trash or garbage or worse. I will go to your competitor, or even worse still, you'll damage the whole marketplace, so nobody will believe that product could work, no matter who the supplier is. The product is important. The process is less so important. But the only reason the process is important is it should, and it is supposed to help you deliver a good quality product repeatably. If that's not happening, then you need to alter your process. It's actually both. Thank you for listening to this value transformation video. Have a great day.